Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Quincy at the Illinois Veterans Home and the All Wars Museum, where they have some recent additions. Most noticeably, a mural painted by the curator of the museum, which tells a little-known story of the Civil War, a little-known story that was the genesis of Lincoln's Medal of Honor. Bob Craig, the newest addition to the All Wars Museum, is something that's very close to your heart, not just because you're the curator of the museum, but you're the artist that created this mural that we're standing next to.
Yes.
It's remarkable. It's a remarkable piece of work. And it's big.
Yes. 6 foot by 11 foot.
Yeah. And the what was the group that awarded you a grant to create this thing?
That was the Looking for Lincoln Heritage, National Heritage Area, locally out of Springfield here. And then matching, the grant had to be matched, and the Reserve Officers Association locally, department level, state of Illinois, the military order of World War II, and a lady named Helen Hardy matched the grant.
Terrific. It's so new, it's not quite finished yet. And we'll go through, as we finish up here, we'll say the finishing touches that you want to add yet. But this is an interesting story because many people don't know about the great train chase of the Civil War. And it's a very interesting story because this James Andrews down here was, now this train originates in Georgia.
Yes.
This is a northern sympathizer here, Andrews. He's a businessman. He's got the money to put this plan together. And there are these covert Union officers that are pictured on the bottom here who are on this detail to get this southern train up to Chattanooga to cut the supply lines to the general up there.
Yeah, Bogard.
Bogard, okay. Yes. So what happens is Andrews and these Union soldiers commandeer this train and they start heading north, and the plan is to destroy the facilities behind them. Yes. But there are some southern trains from the north have gotten wind of this, and there's a chase ensues, right? Yes. How's that unfold?
The Texas southern train was the first locomotive to give chase, and the Texas is on display in the cyclorama in Grant Park in Atlanta. This particular train is in the Museum of the Railroad in Kennesaw, Georgia. But the Texas gave chase first, and the Texas gave chase in reverse because they had 23 box cars, and they unhooked them and didn't have time to turn around and chase forward. So they chased the this group in the general locomotive in reverse 90 miles.
Okay, so they're coming from the north in reverse, and this general is going north. Is going to the north. Yes. Okay, and so you might think, well, there's going to be a collision here somewhere, but there are parallel lines, aren't there?
Yeah, there's main lines, and then there's side lines, and then like the general is heading north, and then the Texas is heading south. So that's why it ended up in reverse, chasing the general.
Now, this whole plan sounds like it would have really been a really good idea. Except when you have a steam-powered locomotive like this, and the weather doesn't cooperate, sometimes you don't get to your destination.
That's exactly what happened. They postponed the raid for one day, and the day that they had planned it, it was a beautiful day. By postponing it, the next day it had rained. So over time it got the wood wet. They had planned to tear up rail, which they did, burn ties, burn bridges, cut telegraph lines. And because the pursuit was so tenacious, they didn't have time to do as much as what they wanted to do. So actually the locomotive ran out of steam just right north of Ringgold.
And that was in Georgia, so it didn't get to Tennessee at all.
Right.
Okay.
And so then it became every man for himself. So they took to the woods. 8 of them did escape outright. The rest of them got captured.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about those individuals in a minute. One thing that you want to do before you finish this painting is you're going to put a little wisp of steam coming out up here, because that's the end. That was the end of the road for this locomotive, wasn't it? It's terrific.
When the Confederates did regain control of it, they tried moving it, and it only moved 3 feet because the wood was wet. And then because they abandoned it and then took to the woods, I think the wisp of smoke coming up is just kind of...
it kind of tells the story, doesn't it? Abraham Lincoln, seen here. The reason that one of the reasons you wanted to do this story is because this originated Abraham Lincoln's Medal of Honor, right? He signed the first Medal of Honor, and these individuals were the first winners of the, or awardees of the Medal of Honor.
Abraham Lincoln signed into law instituting and authorizing the Medal of Honor. The military guys that were on this raid here were the first Medal of Honor recipients. James Andrews, the civilian leader, did not receive the Medal of Honor, being a civilian, but he is buried with 6 other of the raiders in the National Cemetery at Chattanooga, which I think is quite an honor to be buried next to these guys. And then Andrews was a successful Union spy from Kentucky, and he also was a black marketeer and stuff, which he'd made several trips to Atlanta with quinine and things that the Confederacy needed.
And let's bring attention to this fellow down over here to the right too. Martin Jones Hawkins was one of the Medal of Honor winners. Local man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Martin Jones Hawkins is buried in Woodland Cemetery here in Quincy, and this is actually his grave site.
Let's hold that up here.
And
so folks can actually go to Woodland and they can visit this site. It's probably, well, you can see it's well marked. Yeah,
it's one
Medal
of
of
the
Honor
most visited sites in that cemetery, according to the people that work there. But Martin Jones Hawkins, a native Ohioan, as was all these guys here, except Andrews, was from Kentucky, and they had volunteered from the 31st Ohio Volunteer Infantry Regiment and the 21st, I believe it was. But anyway, Martin moved to Quincy after the war and lived with his sister. So it's that's the local link to this action here. And there's been, it's not well known generally because most people focus on your larger battles and stuff like that, but there's actually been 1,200 things written for magazines or books about this particular action. And most of the information that I have used came from a fellow named Pettinger that wrote a book, who was actually one of the raiders that participated in this here.
And this mural is going to stay here at the All Wars Museum, where people can, once you finish it, you'll probably, are you going to hang it, or are you going to keep it right where it is?
Well, right here it's temporary because we got room. It will be integrated at the front of the Civil War section, which spans this whole area right here. And it'll be set up basically like it is, and then we've got to get our lighting system done. This is temporary.
Very nice. You've got some other work to show me. Yeah, let's go take a look. Well, Bob, this is an older mural that you painted, but it's recently been moved to the All Wars Museum. And again, we're staying with the Medal of Honor theme here. This Private George Washington Lucas, who we see pictured on the horse in the Union uniform, also won a Medal of Honor. And he's another local guy from Timewell, Illinois.
Yes.
What did he do to win the honor?
Well, this is an action from Benton, Arkansas. He was with the 3rd Missouri Cavalry, which was a Union unit. But what he did is that basically his pre-life was a farmer with his father. He's mustered into service in Palmyra, Missouri.
Okay, starts in Timewell on a farm.
Yes.
He musters in Palmyra, where we see him frying some eggs there at the camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his first action was at Rolla, Missouri, which was a cavalry action.
In 1863.
His Medal of Honor action at Benton is that he's trying to capture a Confederate general who happens to be a medical officer. And Lucas was a big farm boy, and he tried stunning the general to capture him, and he hit him too hard, and it killed him.
He was too strong for his own good.
He's too strong for his own good. The Confederate medical officer, as Lucas was riding up on him, he has a double-barreled shotgun.
Yeah.
And he fired both barrels at Lucas, and they misfired.
Oh man, that's fortunate.
And then Lucas had, his father was a physician. Lucas killed a physician, and then Lucas became a physician.
He did.
After
okay,
the
we
war.
see it up in the upper right-hand corner. We see him pictured as a physician in Mount Station, Illinois. And then your mural also shows that he was buried back in Timewell, where he was born.
Yes, and he was a resident here at the home.
Oh. Bob, Lester Hammond Jr., another man, Medal of Honor award winner, and part of your series of murals on the Medal of Honor. This man's story is really touching because he really gave up his life knowing that he was going to die saving his fellow soldiers, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And Mark, that's exactly what happened, is that he was a radio man. They were on patrol, the squad. They ended up getting surrounded by an estimated 200 Chinese communist soldiers. And Lester ended up calling in artillery on his own position. American artillery on his own position, so the rest of the squad could escape. And the artillery officer had said, Corporal, that's your own position. And Lester replied that, yes, I know it is. I've been wounded twice. I'm going to die anyway. Fire. You know?
Wow.
So that's exactly what he did. And that's one of these instances of kind of like a premeditated action, you know, by someone that gave up his life to save his buddy.
So they go ahead and they shoot the artillery and take his life. In the meantime,
yes,
his unit is able to survive because they've distracted or cut off the enemy from the ability to do that.
Yeah,
wow.
The artillery laid down a wall of steel basically, and I believe one of the guys from the squad is still living, and there was a Rack-A-Sands reunion, which is his unit that was here at the museum one year. So it was interesting to talk to these guys from that airborne unit.
Oh, interesting. You've also got more of his collection here. Lester's,
yes.
His Medal of Honor is here, and that's a really that's a precious item to have, isn't it? A Medal of Honor.
Yeah, it's one of the most impacting items to have with who it's connected to and what he did. And you don't see a lot of these even around military museums. And his family has graciously put this on permanent display here at the home.
And just above you can see his uniforms and his boots are here as well. And it really brings the story to life when you can see what he may have been wearing at the time.
Yes, yeah.
Bob, we just observed the 70th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. It got a lot of attention, as well it should. And you're fortunate to have somebody on staff, a fellow named Joe Larata, who has a remarkable talent for creating these dioramas. And this shows two of the landing ships as they approach Omaha Beach.
Yeah, Joe is an award-winning diorama maker, and then this is showing a section of the 29th Infantry Division landing on the Omaha Beach.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're just really fortunate to have someone that can do these dioramas. This has been a big hit, and especially on June 6th, the anniversary of D-Day, a lot of people were in here, and this seemed to be one of the main spots where they gathered.
What makes this really special is you've incorporated into this an actual audio recording of what was going on.
Yes.
As this landing was occurring, and you got a button here that can push, and I'm going to push this and we're going to listen to the actual recording of the D-Day invasion. Man, some of that gunfire sounds too close, doesn't it?
It's awesome, and you can pick out the different types of weapons that's being fired.
And you can hear the men. You
The
can
men
hear them
yelling,
screaming and
yes.
yelling. Yeah. Wow. Interestingly, too, this color for the sand of the beach at Normandy wasn't just drawn out of the air. I mean, this was researched, wasn't it?
Yes, Joe contacted Tamaya, which deals with military miniature products and paint, and they special mixed this color for Joe to use of the color of the sand at Omaha Beach.
Well, that's terrific. Bob, you've got a number of talented people who help you out. We just saw Mr. Larada's work with that diorama, but these ships built by Jim Brenner are really special. We're looking at an LST.
Yes.
What a talent.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to know Jim. He does an excellent job on these ships. These are 1/96 scale, which 1 inch equals 96 inches. To give you an idea of the size of it, I think it's 300 and some feet long. And these were used to haul supplies, both in the Pacific and Europe, and they were actually used, modernized in Vietnam.
My dad was on an LST during World War II in the South Pacific.
Wow.
He was second in command on a ship very much like this one. They were hauling, ammunitions to the islands in the South Pacific.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That I think I would rather haul sea rats other than
That's right.
ammunition.
And over here, let's look at another one of Brenner's pieces. This is a little larger scale. This large cruiser, I think they call it a heavy cruiser.
Yes, it's a heavy cruiser.
Wow.
It's the USS Quincy, Massachusetts. And
We'll claim it anyway, though, right?
Yeah, we'll claim it. And this is the second one. The first one was sunk, and then this one did, since we was talking about D-Day, did participate in the D-Day landings.
You know, this may also be that same, this is 1/96th as well, which shows you how long this cruiser was, because this is about twice as long as the LST that we just saw.
Yeah.
Man, that's a handful for Brenner when he puts these things together.
Well, he sure does enjoy doing it, and his workmanship is just really nice.
It's outstanding. Wilbur Knotts, you're pretty involved with this All Wars Museum, aren't
Yes.
you? Yeah. Do you take people through it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
I'm one of the volunteers here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a pleasure to do it.
I'll bet it is. I'll bet it is, because you're dealing with an audience of people who really care about
Right.
what's in there, don't they?
They do.
They're
They
very
really
curious. I bet they're very curious.
They really are. You get a lot of different people in, and they're just amazed at what's in there.
But you like to tell people that what's out front.
Oh,
You used to drive one of these tanks, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did.
you like to bring them out here and show
yeah,
them.
I trained on it for about 5 years.
Is that right? So you never had to use it in battle,
No.
but you know how to drive it.
Yes.
What is it? What kind of tank is it?
This is an M60 tank. It was started in 1960. It was never used in Vietnam, but it's used in the Gulf War.
Oh, okay.
And it has a main gun round of 105 millimeters and a 50 caliber machine gun and a 7.62 coaxial machine gun.
Uh-huh.
It's capable of driving at 30 miles an hour forward and 10 miles an hour in reverse.
No kidding, 30 miles an hour.
And it can
You couldn't run away from this thing.
No, and it can actually ford water. It can go through quite deep mud holes if you had to.
Interesting too. You said that there's a Quincy tie in here with these wheels.
They used to make the road wheels. These are called road wheels, or bogey wheels as they call them. And I was an inspector for those wheels.
And they're made here in Quincy.
They were made here in Quincy.
By what company?
Used to be electric wheels, now called Titan wheel.
Oh, okay. And you probably did you even know when you were driving this tank that you were on Quincy wheels?
No, not really.
When you were in training, you never did this in combat, but when you were in training, you would fire these shells.
Correct.
And they look monstrous. They look like it would do a tremendous amount of damage.
They will. They will.
This one, how is this one outfitted? This is to explode where? Where would this be used?
This is what's called a sabo round, and it's used for troops, a large area of troops, and the shell itself explodes and sends out shrapnel. And they have an armor-piercing round for it that looks quite similar, but it burns a hole through the armor plating.
Oh, so you would be shooting that at another tank?
And well, the other rounds that they make, you've been shooting at tanks.
Okay, this is say there's a line of soldiers coming towards you. You'd shoot, and the shrapnel would take out the soldiers.
And they also
advancing
shoot
soldiers.
it at small vehicles, like a deuce-and-a-half truck or something like that.
Are they heavy?
So they're quite heavy.
Yeah. Can you pick it up? Jeez. Oh my goodness. I have no idea. That's 50 or 60 pounds.
Yes.
You picked it up pretty easy.
They're a trick to load.
I'll bet they are.
When you load one of these, you put it in the barrel, and when you shove the thing forward, you have to shove it forward like that and bring your hand up.
You got to be strong as an ox to do that.
Otherwise, if you don't bring your hand up, you'll catch it in the breech block.
What can you load? I mean, how fast can you load them?
I've seen an active duty tank crew load 3 of these in 4 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Well, you could do some real damage that way.
Yeah.
Because you can fire them that fast too, huh? You can just...
Well, the funny part about it is the general lost $20 on the bet.
So, he didn't think they could do it.
You know, he didn't. And they did it at night, and you could see the tracer rounds. They fired tracers.
You've actually fired this?
Yes.
But not in combat. Where did you fire it?
Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. Wow. I trained up there.
That would be a tremendous feeling of power, wouldn't it?
Got to drive, had to pass my driver's test for it, where they take you up a mountain, and it was a mountain. And you get up at the top, and the tank will just sit there and rock back and forth.
Oh, man.
And then it goes straight down.
Oh, I couldn't take that. That's worse than an amusement.
And then I got pictures of me taking it through a mud hole. So, but they're fun to drive.
In the Civil War, Bob, you would not want to see this thing looking at you.
That's a fact, yes.
You're very fortunate because there weren't many of these. This is called the Cyrus Alger Company rifled James gun. It's made of bronze, 12 pound.
Yes.
There weren't many of them made, were there?
387 of them were made, and everything weapon-wise in the military is numerical sequence, and this is number 1.
Number
387.
No kidding. And you can actually, I mean, you know, it's marked on there somewhere that it's number 1, so you know it's the first in a series.
Yes. Yes.
And these would have all 387 would have been produced. I'm sure they were all saw action in the Civil War.
I would think that was their purpose because of the date that is on the trunnion, and you can see where it's had use too. Is that back here you have the main friction primer with the cord that fires it. You can see these other holes have been drilled and tapped because as one would clog up, they would drill another one to be able to fire it.
Yeah.
So
got used a lot.
It's been used.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about this, is not number 1. This was number 1 in the series.
Yes.
But what's really interesting is number 2. Because number
Yes.
2 you also have on exhibit here, and it just showed up.
Yes.
What kind of stuff? How does that happen?
Well, as Wilbur had mentioned, and Tom McKinney had both seen it, it ended up in a maintenance shed to protect it down on the bay. And then that's where we had picked it up from the Park District. And this is number 2.
Number 2?
So, yes. So we have 1 and 2 in the
Down on
sequence
Quincy Island.
Yes.
It just shows up one day.
Yeah.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And it looks as though, I mean, you have some, I like this. It says 1861 right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what exactly what year it is. But it looks as though maybe somebody tried to drag this away, because if you look on this side here, you can see that it's been dragged, and abrasive. Somebody maybe tried to haul it away, or couldn't do it because it was too heavy,
yeah,
or got caught doing it, or something.
That's what we think is that they these weigh like 900 pounds.
Oh my God.
And might have hooked it up to a pickup truck to pull it, to get it to a position to where they could steal it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, but that when this happened, and that's when the Park District had taken it inside the maintenance shed, and it was under one of their workbenches and stuff, and they used a hoist and everything to lift this into the back of a pickup truck. And then we had someone with a here at the home with a backhoe come over and then lift it off, and then we special made this dolly just to be able to move
So
it.
you could move it. Oh my God.
But we want to make a naval carriage for this, because these 12-pounders like this were used in the field configuration that we just looked at, and on ships with your squat naval carriages. So we'll have a sample of both ways that they were used.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
The 3 murals that you saw during the program were just the first 3 of a 7-part series. The All Wars Museum is open every day but Monday. With another Illinois story in Quincy, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send 1995 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.